Hello, it's 4 minutes o'clock on All News Nigeria. I am Opeyemi Olugbemi. Here are the headlines for today. Facebook fined billions for mishandling data. Biden's debt ceiling talks ends with no deal. Now the news. Facebook's owner, Meta, has been fined 1.2 billion euros for mishandling people's data when transferring it between Europe and the United States. It is the biggest fine ever levied for breach of the General Data Protection Regulations, which require the data owner's permission before using their personal information. The fine imposed by Ireland's Data Protection Commissioner came after Meta continued to transfer data beyond the 2020 EU court ruling that invalidated an EU-US data transfer pact. It tops the previous record EU privacy fine of 746 million euros handed by Luxembourg to Amazon.com Incorporations in 2021. The battle over where Meta's Facebook stores its data began a decade ago after Austrian privacy campaigner Max Schrems brought a legal challenge over the risks of US snooping in light of disclosures by former US National Security Agency contractor Edward Snowden. Meta said in a statement that it will appeal the ruling, including the unjustified and unnecessary fine that sets a dangerous precedent for countless other companies. It will also seek a stay of the suspension orders through the courts. The social media giant reiterated that it expected a new pact facilitating the safe transfer of European Union citizens' personal data to the United States would be fully implemented before it has to suspend transfers. In other news, United States President Joe Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy could not reach an agreement on Monday on how to raise the United States government's $31.4 trillion debt ceiling with just 10 days before a possible default that could sink the United States economy, but vowed to keep talking.
I felt we had a productive discussion. We don't have an agreement yet. I believe we can still get there.
Democratic president and the top congressional Republican have struggled to make a deal as McCarthy pressures the White House to agree to spending cuts in the federal budget that Biden considers extreme, and the president pushes new taxes that Republicans have rejected. Both sides stress the need to avoid defaults with bipartisan deal after Monday evening's meeting, however, and signals that they will be talking regularly in coming days. A source familiar with the situation said that White House negotiators were returning to Capitol Hill on Monday night to resume talks. Democrats and Republicans have until June 1 to increase the government's self-borrowing limit or trigger an unprecedented debt default that economists warn could bring on a recession. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen on Monday offered a sobering reminder of how little time is left, saying the earliest estimated default date remains June 1, and that it is highly likely that Treasury will no longer be able to pay all government obligations by early June if the debt ceiling is not raised. And that's it on today's news. To keep up with All News Nigeria, kindly follow us on all social media platforms displayed on the screen. We'll be back with more news updates. Until then, stay tuned. I am Opeyemi Olugbemi. Do have a lovely evening.